Your name's Eugenia, but do you want to introduce yourself with your whole full name?
My name is not Eugenia. It's Eugenia. Carlos Murawski.
I can't say that. Yeah. Caro Murawski, that's me. And you're Eugenia.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, we met a while ago, it's got maybe 3 years
ago? Oh,
maybe
okay.
3. Because I think it was before COVID. And that was like 2019 or 2020.
My gosh.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And you were making, at the time, women's shoes.
Yes.
And I'm not even sure how I found you or you found me or one of the two, because you started getting into making men's shoes.
Yeah.
Right?
I sent you an email.
You did.
I remember.
Yeah. And I was like, here's somebody who is, I got to tell you, right off the bat, I'm like, okay, most of the guys, they're guys, first of all, right? And they look like me. And those are the people who are making boots. But then you come along from a completely different background, from a completely different country with a totally different perspective.
And culture too.
Right. That's what, right. And to me, that was so interesting because it's like, you know how many people are coming from Washington State or, they kind of they want to make the next Knicks work boot. And there's so many of them out there, right? But then you also have the people who want to make some variation of an Italian sleek kind of boot or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of it. And then you come out of nowhere with a totally different style, right? And so maybe we could begin in the beginning. You started off with a business background and you were making at the time women's shoes.
Yes, and I used to work as a fashion stylist too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I was working on fashion, and then I had that need to create instead of telling stories about what other people do. Mm-hmm. So I started to create shoes because I really loved shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I started with women. I made a lot of things. I made sneakers. I just designed. And then for men too. But just before quarantine, the truth story is that I met a Californian farmer. I fell in love, and I wanted to make a pair of work boots for him. So mm-hmm. That's how everything.
That's the beginning. Yeah.
That's the beginning of
I love
making work boots.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I love making work boots. I really love it.
Yeah, well, see, that's just, and I think that's where I kind of remember picking up the story, because you were asking me some stuff about work boots and stuff, because that's the stuff that I'm making.
I love, because it's a huge world, and it's not just knowing how to make shoes.
Right.
If you want to specialize.
It's okay. Yeah, you're right. Both ways sound good. I like the first one.
No, when you want to specialize in one type of shoe, you have to go deep inside and learn a lot more. Mm-hmm. So I had to make a huge research. Mm-hmm. So I read a lot of books, and I ask people, I ask you.
Yeah. I remember you were sending me the books that you were reading. You found some stuff way, way back. We're not even talking about this century, right? They were old. And you really, that's why I think, when we spoke, and then when you wanted to kind of talk about work boots or whatever, I was like, yeah, I'll talk about boots with anybody. You know what I mean? But then when I saw how seriously you were taking it, I was like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. You're actually a hard worker. You don't just think it's a neat thing to do and it's going to be whatever. You dug in, mm-hmm. and were reading and finding these old book. Everything. And then our mutual friend Gabbard from Creosote was like, hey, she's doing some serious stuff, because you were doing hand bottoming, right? Hand lasting, and you were making your own lasts, and you were doing hand sewn stuff. You were you went straight into the advanced deep end without kind of skipping any, or without going through any of the other.
It's a route.
Yeah, you sure did. Right.
Yeah.
But that's what
I buy a cow. I sky them. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I had to try a lot of materials. I had to explore all the materials, all the different leathers, the outsoles, the outsole flexibility, everything.
Yeah.
The different threads.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of factories, supplier factories, and good quality. There are natural rubber factories in Argentina, but I wanted to use Vibram. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well,
here
it's the standard, right? So
Yeah.
I could see that. For work boots, that's what you see everybody wears. So.
Yeah. So I found some vintage ones from Argentina, and I was so happy when I found them.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I remember you saying that it was hard to get them.
Yeah.
And it was
I have stock in my workshop.
Yeah.
A shelf, everything with vintage Vibram.
That's so cool. Yeah. So then you decided and I mean, I'm if I'm skipping any parts here because I want to sort of tell the story because yours is so unique from where you come from. And I think in the end, it makes a lot more sense when we know where you started, right? Because it's like, okay, now you see how they got there, right? But for you, it was like you began making women's shoes. You wanted to get into work boots. You tried all these different things. And then we had a conversation where you were like, oh, I don't know, should I just go with a Goodyear welted boot or should I dive into the world of Handseone? And I think that I don't know. I mean, I was like, oh boy, that sounds kind of tough, right? I don't know. But if I had to vote, I would say Handseone is there's only a small group. You talk about shoes in general. It's a whole lot of them. Goodyear welted shoes, less. Then when you start talking about Handseone stuff, now we're talking about, I can count them out, the people who are doing it, on my fingers probably, because it's not many people who want to get in there and make their own, right? I mean, it's crazy, but you started doing it.
I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I have fun.
And I see the pictures. There's pictures of you. You got the leather things on your hands so you can pull and you're in a workshop. I mean, it's you're doing it and you're covered in when you're sanding stuff, you're covered in, I mean, you're getting dirty. You're in there. It's amazing. It's so cool.
It is. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I really enjoy it.
So now that when you decided to do that, you decided you're going to go with Handseone, right? You decided at that point to make your own lasts and start developing a couple of models of boot?
Yeah. In my country, we have factories of lasts too. So it's not that difficult to design. Well, I know how to design it, okay? But if you have a design, you can go to a guy, an old guy that has a huge machine, and you show when you do a copy of a key, like the machine that
it traces one and it'll make the other.
Yeah. So I make one.
Yeah.
And he can make it all of them, just with one mold that I make.
Oh, okay.
So I like making my lasts. I have a lot of lasts in my workshop.
Yeah.
Like 700 or something like that.
Really?
I love having new ones and I collect them.
Yeah. Well, so do you find old ones and modify them or?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, from small factories that shut down. So I go and that one. Yes, I really do.
That's so cool.
Yes.
That's awesome. So
and
yours
with tools too.
What's that? Tools?
Tools. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Shoemaking tools. I do the same.
Oh, cool.
So,
So you have a lot of vintage equipment then.
I do. Yes.
Do you feel like with vintage tools and equipment, there's like a soul in those pieces? Am I going a little crazy here? Because sometimes I feel that way when I have old tools. I have a pair of my grandfather's pliers, right? And I can see the nicks and the scars and the scratches and stuff like that.
It has his own story.
That's it. Right.
It's different to work with something with, it has soul.
Right, exactly. Yes.
I love that of shoemaking.
Yeah, it's like machinery has, when it's been used for so long, especially the old stuff, it's so heavy, right?
Yeah.
Iron stuff.
I have a hammer from my grandpa.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shoemaking hammer. I don't know why he has a shoemaking hammer.
So he wasn't in shoemaking, Okay.
It's
Okay.
fine. No, he was a mechanic.
Oh, okay. All right. But he happened to have this. He must have known,
Yeah.
well, in 2 generations,
Why not?
my granddaughter is going to need this.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
so cool, though.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How many models do you have now?
No, I'm working in. Well, I've just told you the next one that I'm making. I started with marcha.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm having tierra. It's soil, some earth, no soil, or
Soil.
not soil. Okay,
Sure.
And now I'm working in 4 model more that I'm about to finish. I don't know what else.
So those are the ones that are available now. Have you made any? How many sales have you made?
Well, from the first model, I had a lot of orders, like 14 orders.
Yeah.
And now I have another one that I have to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just one model. So I don't know.
So when people are, well, I guess what I'm trying to figure out here is when people want to order a pair of boots from you, will they typically go on, and message you on Instagram? Would they go to your website? Would they place an order there? Do you?
Both. I have no problem. Yeah,
Okay.
you can DM me or my website too.
You might want to be careful because when a lot of people see this, you're going to get a lot of DMs in your inbox. Maybe you say, "Hey, I'm not interested in boots, but can I come to Argentina?"
I already have it.
I believe it.
But okay.
So when you get an order, do you make them to? How does that work? Does somebody say, "Okay, well, my size is 9.5"?
I talk with that person.
Yeah.
And I send him a video to measure his foot, or he can use an app too for measuring them easier. You just have to take a picture of your feet and just that, and I have the measures.
Oh,
it's awesome. Technology.
Yeah.
I like old style shoemaking, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, hey, why not take advantage of some of the modern technology?
Yeah.
For sure. And then you'll make the boot to that person's foot. So you're not making stock sizes.
No. I have. I like working with cork. So if the measure is a bit different, I put cork and I rasp the last, and I make it work.
Oh, so you take it's based around a size 10 or whatever. Then you'll add cork to it to make it.
Yeah,
cork
and then leather too.
And then you'll kind of try to make that person's foot out of that last.
To ensure that it fits.
Got it. Okay. Understood. Is that tricky? That's gotta be the hardest part.
No. No.
I don't think. I just don't. I was really bad at sculpting in school. I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Perhaps for you.
For me, it'd be the hardest part. Yes.
Okay. No.
Do you? Okay. Who are your favorite? Who are your favorite bootmakers? The ones that you take inspiration from? Then, I mean, you love to do this. Anybody who plays an instrument, Gabbard,
Gabbard, because he makes art.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and Lee Miller. Lee Miller, I love him.
Lee Miller.
I talk a lot with him, and I ask questions to him, and he's a really good person too.
Yeah. How about Marcel Marsan? You ever watch his stuff?
Yeah, him too. I talk with him.
Oh, do you? Yeah. See,
I do.
Yeah. See, you skipped the line. You went right to like the best people out there, and you get all the good information. That's how you do it, right? But then again, these people aren't dumb. They must see something in you that they say, this person is worth my time and effort to convey my information. They don't just do that for anybody.
Okay. I was making shoes for 15 years now. So it's a lot. And I don't know. It's just having friends, shoemaker friends.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. And that's the other thing. I certainly don't want to downplay, your history in making shoes, because it's not like you just started yesterday. But I do think that it's pretty amazing how you went from making women's shoes for how long? For 10 years or so?
Yeah, not just women's shoes, but I made everything, like sneakers for men too, for lines for small brands like clothes brands from Argentina.
Oh,
and I made the line of the shoes, and not just the design. I have a workshop that works. So I used to do that.
Oh, okay.
And then, but now just work boots and me alone.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what it is. And I think of it, right, like I think that I've maybe misrepresented you because I don't remember that part in the beginning. I think of you from like 2021 on, right? Doing this thing on your own.
Yeah.
And I kind of sometimes forget that you had all that history, that background.
Yeah.
I mean, 15 years is no short amount of time.
Yeah, I used to be a teacher too, you know?
Really?
Yeah, pattern teacher.
Well, okay. So there you go. So this, now let me just try to phrase this the right way. I don't mean to say that it's not raw talent, but there's a lot of instruction and history there that you've had.
Yes, that's why perhaps it was easier to me to learn the new things of work boots, but it's a lot of things to learn.
Yeah, I bet.
It's a lot, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
You never stop learning.
Right. So how is the difference now between what you're making versus what you used to make?
No,
They're completely different?
work boots are a huge world.
Yeah.
And you have to know even the nails that you put. You have a lot of shoemaking nails, so you have to choose the right one for that specific heel, you know. And you have to know which nail you have to put there. Not that easy. Yeah. So there were a lot of details that I had to learn, and I had to practice, and I have to, I don't know.
Master, right? I mean,
master.
Right, yeah. Well, now we have a boot of yours that we're going to bring out in a second.
Okay.
All right. But I think that what I'm seeing here, and maybe I'm totally off base, is it seems to me like you're making collectibles. You're making boots that a collector would want to buy. You're not making work boots that somebody's going to go on and throw on and like work out in the concrete. You're buying stuff that people who know about this stuff and appreciate it are going to want to wear. Because you were explaining to me the linen thread, you're not going after durability for the guys who are walking on rebar all day. Oh. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? You're making stuff that's for people who are...
I don't know what I do. I do what I like. So, no, yes, I guess.
Well, because when you brought that boot out, the first thing I thought is that same thing. I had the same feeling that I had when I first saw like one of Gabbard's, which is like, this is so different. This is so interesting. I've never seen anything else like it. So to me, right, because look, I've right over here, we were just looking at them not too long ago. There are probably 5 or 6 different makers who are basically making the same boot. Yours looks like none of those. Yeah,
I don't know if perhaps it's because I came from another culture.
Well, yeah.
So I had to think what I want to create.
Yeah.
So I like to inspire on a topic, and I research that topic. So I look for pictures and I imagine things, and then I draw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're actually quite an artist too. I've seen the drawings. They're pretty good.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I enjoy doodling. Mm-hmm. And I draw and I have an idea in my mind, and then I try to test materials and stuff and try to make that boot that I imagine.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
So.
Here.
You want to gussy it up?
Yeah, I do.
So here we have, which model is this?
Tierra. This is tierra.
I am not going to be able to say that.
How do you say it in English pronunciation?
What would the...
Terra. No.
The way you said it was way better. The way you said it was much clearer.
I will call it Terra.
Okay. All right, sure. But I think even the way you say gaucho is better than the way I say gaucho. It sounds like I'm talking about a gaucho.
Gaucho, you say it right.
Okay. You're very kind.
Well, okay, that's the laces here, there.
So this though is we have bison or buffalo.
It's Argentinian buffalo.
Argentinian buffalo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you use rough out down here on the
It's
vamp.
vegetable tan rough out,
Yep.
waxed,
Mm-hmm.
and the welt here in the heel is buffalo too,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, rough out and everything vegetable tan. I like using vegetable tan.
What's the lining?
Sheep.
Sheep.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
sheep.
interesting.
Vegetable tan too.
I now strikingly, right? Of course, I think the first thing that people will notice about this is number one, the the very pronounced toe, right? Which I love. I mean, I think that looks awesome. But we were also talking about how incredibly flexible these are, like right out the box. And I because there's right here, there's not a whole lot of structure. It's very structured, and you have a leather heel counter, but you have this soft section here. And I would imagine they got to be a dream to walk in. They got to be like, just, you know, like,
You have to try it out.
I'm going to have to. I'm absolutely going to have to. This detail here,
That's
I
linen
love.
thread.
That's the linen thread.
Yeah, I wax it. Again.
Yeah, wax it. Yeah.
Wax it,
Yeah.
I dye it, then I wax it,
Mm-hmm.
and then
I love this. I have a motorcycle seat where I went and I had it reupholstered. I asked the lady to do it. She's a great leather worker.
Okay.
And I asked her, and I said, I have no idea what this is called, but I like those X's. Can you do the X's along this? And she did, and it looks great. I love it. It looks old school to me. It looks like a cartoon that would draw stitching. You know what I mean? I love that.
Well, first I draw it.
Well, yeah, then you figure out how to stitch it. And then tell me more about this heel stack, because that's interesting as well.
Well, my inspiration was tierra, with soil.
Mm-hmm.
So in Argentina, we have a mountain called the 7-color mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to dye every label of the heel with a different brown, because of that mountain.
Yeah.
So different tones of browns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's not like in your face, but you definitely see that they're different, right? But like we were talking about, if it was like...
No, it's not a clown shoe. That's why it's like
Yep.
a beat.
And I like this. I've never seen this done before either up here. Again,
It's like an ankle lace or something.
I know, but it's cool. And that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of things here. Now, the first thing I would think, like, is if you put that in a box and told me that this was from a 1920s coal miner, I'd be like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because it's so different and so unique, right? You don't see anything modern here. And I think that what I always loved about Jim Green's from South Africa, you know, is that they do things the South African way. They're not the American version. They're the South African way. And I mean, it's like, I want them to be like that because I love that their culture is in the boot. And it's the same thing here. There's so many things that like I've just never seen before. And I'm sure that your culture has informed a lot of your decisions and the way you make things and the way and it's also been an evolution.
Not a lot of people know what is Argentina and where it is. And we Argentinians, we love our country. We are proud of our country. We're very nationalists. So I like to put the culture of Argentina in the boots and tell a story too. You know?
Yeah.
I try.
You do. You did a great job.
Okay, thank you.
I really, honestly, I think these are so cool. And the other ones that I've seen that you've made, now I'll do some B-roll of these, like I'll put them so we could get close-ups of them.
Okay.
So they're not just sitting in front of us. But the other ones that I've seen that you've made, which are taller with the little side.
The pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a vintage army gun holder.
Yeah.
That I converted in a pocket, but the pocket was there for the ballets, and a knife shaft too.
That's so cool. So you're taking some old stuff and then repurposing it.
Yeah, I have something with the old thing.
Yeah.
So I put always something old, like this wasn't old, but I make it old. You know, how do you call it?
Sometimes they'll say like you antiqued it. You know, you like make it antiqued or distressed
but the metal I
oxidized.
Oxidized.
Yeah.
I oxidized myself, and then I put a lac on. Lake? No. Lac. My gosh, ay, me encantaría poder estar hablando en español, que aparezcan subtitles.
I love it. It's great. It's
Okay.
No. I mean, really, I know we're having fun, but it's, I don't know. I just think you really have done some really interesting things here. Okay. And again, I think that the thing that would be most interesting to me would be, you know, how they feel, right? So if somebody puts these on, if somebody were to tell me like these walk like a dream, they have no, you know what I mean? They're just the most comfortable things in the world. I'd be like, awesome. But on the other hand, if somebody says it feels like I'm standing on a damn cinder block, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe it's not worth it, right? But I think that you know what you really need is somebody to get some time wearing them to see how.
Yeah, I put on mold art too. Like this part is hard because the insole is still there.
Yeah.
You know? Because I like to. I have flat feet, so I think that this is more comfortable. I don't know. I like doing like this.
Well, you know, like with creosote, I didn't even notice that.
Okay, now you do.
What creosote does is he'll cut that in. He calls it the waist, you know, and he says that supports your foot, so your foot's not like, you know, flattening out, right? It's kind of
like that, yeah.
Right.
So you have here, and here.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's the insole. It's not another piece of leather.
That's the insole.
The insole that I put it.
So if you were to take the insole and flatten it out, it would have like a wing that comes up here. Like
yes, of course. Yes, I put a piece of cow.
The cow that you raised, yeah.
I skive it, you know, and I put nails. When I make them, I put nails here and I mold them with water and heat and everything.
Yeah,
a hammer.
Yeah.
to have this shape.
No kidding, man. It's so unique. It's so different. Really is. And I'll bet you that this is going to be, you know, when something is so different like this, you're going to have people who love it and people who don't like it.
I don't care.
One side or the other, right?
No, the truth is, I don't know. I'm inspired in something, and I'm very stubborn. So I do it, and if someone like them, awesome.
Yeah,
that's all.
Wow.
I don't do this because of a business or something like that. I do it because I want to express myself.
Yeah.
In some way.
But it came from a place of passion. I love that.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. What do you think the next few years is going to be like?
Yes, I'm not sure. Tomorrow, I don't know. No,
what do you think 2024?
Which is my dream.
Yes.
Okay.
What would it look like ideally to you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Travel, make trunk shows, perhaps, and go back to my workshop and make the boots. Yeah, I would love that. And travel with my son.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you're building out the business, right? And you're coming up with these really interesting ideas and models and stuff like that. And when you show them to people, what's going to happen is it's going to be like, you're going to have that model that simply isn't available anywhere else. You know what I mean? If I had to make a prediction that in the next couple of years, you will have that model, and it may be the next version of this. It may be this one right here, where people see it and they go, I gotta have it. And it's yours, and it only comes from one place. And then you're gonna have the problem of people trying to copy it and rip it off and make it somewhere in wherever, but you'll have the first crack at it because what you're doing is so different that nobody else does it. And it's just a matter of time before you hit on that thing.
These 2 years, I was like trying to know myself as a work bootmaker. Sorry, he speaks Spanish.
We know.
I know you know. Happy nowadays. I thought
I thought you were German.
German?
Yeah.
Oh.
You had that.
Don't I sound like a native?
Yes, you do. You're especially.
Oh my gosh, I'm in disaster right now. I do my best.
And we appreciate it.
Okay.
No, it's great. It's great. You're doing some awesome stuff. Where is the best place for people to get a hold of you?
Gauchos Boots.
Gauchos Boots.
.com.
Okay. I'll put that at the bottom.
Okay.
Or Instagram, right?
Or Instagram.
Either of those places they can reach
Gauchos Boots or Eugenia the shoemaker.
Beautiful.
Both.
I love it. It. You're doing some awesome stuff. And the fact that you came all the way up here, flew 15 hours to show me this. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. I love it. No, it's so cool. I mean, and the fact also that this is really the first that like the general YouTube public is seeing of you. Am I right?
Yeah.
This is the debut. It's the beginning. This is the first of many, I'm sure.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I feel very honored that you decided to come up
me
here.
Me too.
Really.
I'm here with you, talking with you.
Yeah. Well,
I'm honored. Really.
well, thank you so much.